The Texans are going somewhere. DeMeco Ryans isn't going somewhere. Let's make sense of it now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah.
Pretty decent news day for the Texans off the field in multiple ways, one of which isn't really getting talked about. We'll talk about that in a sec. We'll actually start with it, and then the facility news that Jonathan Alexander broke, the alpha, Aaron Wilson of KPRC on the scene. Shout out to the greatness of Sleeper for sponsoring the video. Sleeper, the DFS is alive and well, and strong recommendation to download the app, use the promo code LOCKER, and go do your thing on there. They got a lot of other stuff going on, but shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video and doing everything that they do and everything that they continue to do as they progress as a company and the best sports app in the game. So download the Sleeper app. Don't miss out, even during basketball season. So we'll get into the Texans move in a sec. There are a lot of opinions on that. I think the real question is, what does it mean for 6 years down the line? 3 years down the line, there's really not a big impact. Different people feel different ways about the move. I'll express my opinion in a sec, but let's start with some other news that I don't know if it's gotten attention. I don't know if it's public knowledge yet. It's not official. But it appears, and we've talked about this on the stream, that things were heading in this direction. And to be fair, the alpha,
hey bro, Alpha Aaron here,
was the first one that told me this was a possibility, and we've talked about it. But it looks like DeMeco Ryans likely won't be at the NFL Combine. Now, me and Cody Stoots will be, and we'll be at Spanky Sharpstown before that. And we want you to be there on the 20th, Friday the 20th, a week from tomorrow, for some prizes, some grub, and continue to enjoy the community, even when football season, quote, isn't going on and the offseason isn't in full effect. So join us at Spanky's. We want the newbies, we want the normals, we want you all there at Spanky's. We'll be at the Combine. It looks like DeMeco Ryans likely won't be at the NFL Combine per a number of people. Now, the question becomes, like, is that a big deal? I'll be honest, I don't think it's like a massive deal. I know Kyle Shanahan didn't go to the Combine last year. A lot of coaches do go to the NFL Combine. So I don't think it's like a massive deal. There's obviously other ways to be able to follow things and evaluate players, and you have the visits and all that. And I'm sure he's gone there and just been sitting around and not really knowing what the hell he's doing. I'm sure he's going to get reports, and hell, maybe he'll even zoom in with some of the players. I don't know how that process works, but DeMeco will not be there. Now, on one hand, not a huge deal. Not every coach goes to the Combine. But I do think one of the things that DeMeco and Caserio have done well, for the most part, has been drafting in their 3 drafts. So this is, I think DeMeco's been there all 3 previous years. Maybe he just kind of realized, it's not as important and I don't need to be there. I would like to see if, maybe Nick Caley is there or some of the other defensive guys. Maybe there's some other responsibility. And they report back to him, but it is what it is. DeMeco Ryans not going to be at the Combine, and I will naturally, maybe not as aggressively as Grant Cohn, who covered the 49ers, did last year when Shanahan didn't go. I will naturally ask coaches, what's the importance of being at the NFL Combine, just to kind of get their takes on it, since DeMeco is not there. I think it's interesting, to say the least. Is it a big deal? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's a big deal, but I don't know. So I have no idea. That's the point of it. I don't know how big of a deal it is, but we'll see. So that's where they're at there. And the combine has gotten kind of to be a little bit of a spectacle, and I think the Texans will be represented regardless of how you do or don't feel about that. So looks like DeMeco will not be there. Is what it is. We do have an idea of where the Texans will be. They're going to move their practice headquarters up north. Let's hear Cal and Hannah. They put out a video. It's always interesting. I always wonder whenever Cal puts out a video, how many takes was this? Was this a one take thing? Do you think how many takes does it take for Cal to do a video when he's sitting there by Hannah and they're side by side, shoulder by shoulder, making announcements? This was on the Texans X account. This was what they had to say about their move. Here is Cal and Hannah.
H-Town, we have some extremely exciting news to share with you about the future of our team and our community.
As you know, we have been working tirelessly to explore all our options when it comes to our headquarters and training facility. Our organization is growing rapidly, and we want something state-of-the-art.
Look at Cal already trying to read his next lines. He's stiff. Hannah looks like she's got it down. She can give a speech, but Cal, look at those eyes. He's reading those next lines. He's ready. He's going to deliver these
To match where we are headed.
Today, we're thrilled to announce our plans to partner with Howard Hughes to build a world-class headquarters as part of our new mixed-use sports and entertainment destination in Bridgeland on the northwest side of Houston.
This will be the new home of the Houston Texans outside of game day, and it's a major development for us in Harris County. It will reshape the way we engage with fans, youth, sponsors, and the greater Houston community. It's the biggest move our organization has made since our inception.
This provides our football team with a competitive advantage so our players and coaches can be put in the best possible situation. Our business is also growing in a number of different ways, and that allows our entire organization to work out of the same building all year.
which is a big deal, especially during rodeo, like working in the same building and all that.
One of the best parts about all of this is it allows the Texans to stay in Harris County and continue to invest in our home. We love Houston, and this project will open up opportunities for everyone in this area, commercially and economically.
We want to give a special thank you to Commissioner Tom Ramsey and Commissioner Leslie Briones for working with us on this project. As a Cy-Fair grad, I'm extremely familiar with the area and excited to build on the momentum that's already happening in Northwest Harris County.
When Howard Hughes, who is a national award-winning leader in community development, came to us with their proposal, it was clear this is an opportunity to build something
You got to throw in the money guy there.
world-class, not just for our team, but for the greater Houston area. It reinforces our goals of bringing a championship to Houston, enhancing the community, and making football more accessible. It is truly an industry tone setter.
You'll hear more about this world-class project in the coming weeks, but we wanted to be the first to share this historic news with you. Thank you, and go Texans.
All right, there we go. How would y'all grade the performance by Callahan? I thought they did a pretty good job there. I think it was that bad. They did a pretty good job there. Look, I like the move. I think this is good regardless of what happens with NRG in 2032. And that's really the ultimate question. Is the lease at NRG will be done in 2032. So this really doesn't affect NRG. I'm seeing like a lot of weird outrage. I saw a tweet. I think it was Chancellor Johnson. But he said like it's an hour from NRG. What does that matter? Like the Cowboys, it's kind of the same distance from the Cowboys that the Cowboys go from Frisco and Arlington. And I don't think like people want to live around NRG. Like I don't even know how many players really want to even live downtown at this point. Like that's the thing about it. So like being on the outskirts, being in the burbs, and then saying it's not Houston and stuff like that, it's still Houston. It's still Harris County, and it really doesn't matter. The 49ers do it. The Los Angeles does it. The Cowboys do it. It really doesn't matter. You get a state-of-the-art facility. You're there all the time. And on game days, you go to NRG. And that's the reality. There's only like probably 5 open practices a year that fans go to. And quite frankly, a lot of times it's a pain in the ass when you go to NRG. Now you're going to a place that's going to be developing. The driving is definitely better. There's multiple ways to get there. It's going to be state of the art, and it's going to be cool. Like it'll be more cool to go to a practice, but there's really no impact here until potentially after 2032. And then we'll figure out what happens with the stadium. I mean, we'll hear from Scott Tillman in a sec, the president of the or Mike Tillman, excuse me. God, he's going to be asked about NRG right now. They're not going to come out and say yeah, we're leaving NRG at this point. So this was going to happen no matter what. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but any facility where you have the Astrodome just standing up there for no reason, and you have limited access to get from place to place, you're not going to be able to upgrade there. And there's really no restaurants. I had some dude on X today talk about, oh, this is bad for the restaurants. How? It has no impact based on practice. Some people just want to be pissed no matter what. Like downtown and NRG have had the opportunity, and we'll see if NRG stays there. They're going to have to make some upgrades. So I don't really understand what that means. I don't know what it means when it's mentioned that they're 1 hour away from NRG. Like, do people think that they live in dorms at NRG? Like a lot of these guys, some of these players live as far as Katy, and they're commuting to NRG, and now they can live in the burbs, and there's no pressure of the traffic. Like, just look at the way that they handle roads downtown. I'm not going to mention the 610 construction project they had around Westheimer, where somehow it got even worse. I mean, they have 1 lane on almost every exit. It's pathetic. So yeah, they kind of dropped the ball, and there's nowhere to hang out. Like if you're meeting with your buddy, hey, let's go have a drink at so-and-so. You can't. You have to go tailgate. Tailgating's cool, but if it's the only thing to do, then your stadium's not really popping. Go to Cleveland. Even go to Arlington. They've even built the area around that. Go to that. Go to Indianapolis. Go to Jacksonville. Go anywhere. Go to Nashville. Go anywhere. There's at least a place to go hang out before the game, and there's some stuff popping. It doesn't happen at NRG, and maybe that's still the game day atmosphere. But as far as the practice, there really is no impact unless you think this is just step one to potentially a big move, which could very well be a possibility. We'll hear from Mike T in a second, and hear what he has to say about all this. But it's an interesting thing to say the very least. On the chat, let's get on the chat and talk about some stuff.
Swarm.
Trucker Cam TX says over under 50%. Okay. Over under 50% that go with current draft capital. I feel like Nick will move around a lot and not pick for need because the top prospects are gone again. He trades. So, yeah, I would say that most of the picks, there'll be some trade ups and all that. That's what Nick Caserio does. A lot of times there's not a lot of method to the trades, but Nick going to trade. Trader Nick going to be Trader Nick. So there's that. Killer X God bringing up CJ Stroud says, if CJ comp is Jared Goff, does it mean he won't find success till he's being traded? That could be a possibility. Like there could be a possibility that maybe the Texans try to trade for a veteran after this season or next if the CJ Stroud thing doesn't work out. And maybe he has a revival like Goff, and maybe they elevate their play like the Rams did with Stafford. Who knows? That might that might very well be the case. James always has some shit to say. He says, "Why haven't I gotten the notification that Gerard Johnson's now on point?" Probably staying. He's probably staying. So that's kind of where that's at. He's also saying this is a pointless topic. This is big news of the day, brother. Doesn't matter what it has to do with the 2027 Texans. They could end up moving stadium. They should. They should, quite honestly. So the next question, Chris says, don't the McNairs live in River Oaks? They going to commute to the burbs now? You think they go to every practice? Like, so, like, do y'all know what practice is? Like,
we in here talking about practice.
I'm sure they might spend some more time there. I'm pretty sure they can probably afford getting a place out there if they want to have two places. I would say. I think the McNairs can afford another spot. But like, do you think whenever we go to practice every time on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you think the McNairs are out there at every practice? You think that's how it works? You think they're getting up and like rise and grind at every practice? It's just kind of crazy. Some of the talk on this. Let's hear what Mike T has to say. I also want to talk about the worst kind of CJ Stroud guy. The worst kind of CJ Stroud guy is there. Someone says that commute between two places is going to be annoying. Are you at practice? Like, what do you mean? Where are all these people that go to practice every day? It's not even open. Like, what does that mean? Like during the summer? During the summer when there's like 5 open practices? I'm so confused by this. The commute between two places, it's not annoying. A lot of teams do it. I don't understand this. I don't get it. What's annoying? Don't get it. Alpha Aaron Wilson. So Jonathan Alexander had the story. Alpha Aaron, he caught up with Mike Toman on this. And this was courtesy of the Alpha. This was Mike Toman talking about the experience with the Alpha.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
A good old A-Dub POV with Mike T.
Team. It's always about the team because, the good product on the field. Obviously, you don't have a lot of these other things that accompany it. What are some things that will make the players and the coaches' jobs easier and make them, enjoy as their experience? They come to work every day.
I think one, it starts with being thoughtful, and it starts with understanding what the mission is and that being the focus. The main thing is football, and how do we put our team and the overall org in a position to make their job of becoming world class and focused in on the goal. How do you make sure as all this is going on, how do you make sure it's the main thing? And that's been the driver that we started with, is how do we create a competitive advantage for the football team, and everything else kind of falling in line thereafter.
And economic development, that was something that was mentioned in the announcement, and what it will do in terms of creating jobs and helping that region, which is also where Cal grew up. He's a Cy-Fair high school graduate. How important was that to the organization to try to, not just.
Damn, Alpha cut the videos. So, yeah, the football competitive advantage. I don't know what that means. Maybe it is. Don't know. But this was the follow up on that.
This year, is that the hope?
That is.
And then you would want to move in. I guess have some time to get up to speed in 2029. So you would hope to do that, I guess, in the off season of that year, probably.
Yeah, we're focused in on 2029. We think that there's a scenario, and there's a lot of variables, but we think that there's a scenario with the schedule that'll allow us to move in over the summer and get ready for the season.
And you guys are in a long-term lease, as we talked about when I first met you, through 2032. So you have a lot of time in the building we're doing this interview in NRG Stadium to work with them. Is it still the goal just to kind of work and make this as nice as possible and as competitive as possible with this stadium?
Yeah, absolutely. Our focus is to be here. Our focus is to be at NRG Park. Right. And as we like to say, it's like, you want to see us on our biggest moments, come to NRG. You want to see us on our day-to-day, the other 350 days a year, come to Bridgeland. And so that's kind of how we look at the Toro District, and our focus remains making this our competitive advantage here at NRG.
Last one, and it was a great season. You guys had a lot of success. You went to the divisional round. When you guys think in the leadership structure about the football team and its opportunity to compete in terms of creating jobs and helping that region, which is also where Cal grew up. He's a Cy-Fair high school graduate. How important was that to the organization to try to, not just be a guest of it, but to kind of make it home and be a good neighbor?
Yeah, that's really important. I think through Cal's vision, we started to narrow in on that area. And I think overall, when we think about this opportunity, a driver was, as we talked about, making sure we have a competitive advantage for the team. It was also making sure we make a really positive impact on the community. And so from an economic standpoint, this will generate close to $34 billion over the next 30 years. And it'll come through community integration and benefits packages. We have some great programs that we're working in partnership with the county to roll out that will benefit high school students as well as college and local residents.
I'll just be honest with you. And this is probably not just being honest, like this stuff, like you acknowledge it, especially during a slow news time. But I don't envy beat reporters who have to go cover stuff like this. Like the logistics, the practice, all that getting into. But as soon as you start having to do stuff like this, like when they have a press conference, me and Stoots are going to be at the combine. There'll be some people who stay here just to hear some more of this stuff. It's just, it's a tough life of a beat writer. Props to the Alpha for going out there.
Hey, bro, Alpha Aaron here.
And doing it. But like stuff like this is just like, man, I am so glad that it's pretty football centric and BS and shtick the way we do it when we're at the facility. This is just not
jobs perspective. And so all those pieces were really important to the McNairs. And so we're really excited to land in this spot.
Break ground this year. Is that the hope?
That is.
And then you would want to move in. I guess have some time to get up to speed in 2029. So you would hope to do that, I guess, in the off season of that year, probably.
Yeah. We're focused in on 2029. We think that there's a scenario, and there's a lot of variables, but we think that there's a scenario with the schedule that'll allow us to move in over the summer and get ready for the season.
And you guys are in a long-term lease, as we talked about when I first met you, through 2032.
Yeah. So they're saying that they still want to be at NRG, which you have to. Like, if you have a 5-year lease, like you can't just come out and say, yeah, we bought 85 acres. And I'm not like an acre expert. That seems like a lot of land, though. But let's say that this is a success and they end up having 3 awesome years. The expansion's awesome. The buzz is great. It's good for the brand. Better fan experience than, going to NRG. Even if you want to go to the team shop right now at NRG, it's a pain in the ass. Like you honestly feel like you're going to a federal building if you want to go to the team shop. I think some of y'all, I'm sure some of y'all go to the team shop. Y'all might just order online, but if you ever want to go in the team shop, it's a nice team shop. But if you want to go in there and just get it, like you have to, first of all, there's only one turn. Much like there is when you go to a lot of facilities, you turn left. You basically get told a parking spot. Like it's one of the most difficult things. Like it's almost worse than Galleria parking, which is the worst parking in the country. So even going to the team shop at this point is the pain in the ass. I am all about expanding. I'm all about expanding and growing and growing Houston to the north, to the south, wherever. Outside of NRG Park. I'm good with it. Now they're going to come out and say, well, we still want to be here. You got a 5-year lease. Of course you're going to say that. What will they say in 3 years? What will they say in 4 years? What will they say in 5 years? What will the Texans look like in 3 years? That'll be interesting. Will CJ Stroud still be the quarterback? We talked about that on SNL. Like how many differences, what is the difference going to be? I do think this is one thing where I think the impact of Hannah this is her first big move. This is her first big baby. Like a lot of the foundation of the Texans was kind of laid out before, but now she's going to be a part of this. She's going to put her fingerprints all over it. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of like girls flag football stuff and all that. So this is really like the big, I won't say it's like a coming out party or anything, but this is a big, big moment for Hannah. She's going to be very actively involved in this. So that's really all we got. I think it's a good move. I think it's intriguing for the stadium. There's no impact on NRG through 2032. And quite frankly, the NRG area, the stadium experience sucks outside of the actual football and stuff like that. So let's just be honest with ourselves and acknowledge that, and it can get better. So that's how I feel about that story. I want to bring up something that I've heard a few times, and I'm always really amused by just kind of this notion. I think it's interesting whenever this attitude gets brought up, whenever talking about, something to do with sports. And the guy that I'm bringing up is keep the same energy guy when it comes to CJ Stroud. And basically the premise of it is people were talking about how great he was in 2023, and now people are talking about how bad he is. And there's very dramatic examples. Like some people thought he was the best quarterback in the world, and then they completely flip, and all of a sudden he's the worst quarterback in the world. So it's like, keep that same energy, stay on that side. You were saying this in 2023, now you're saying this. Shouldn't there be some sort of resemblance of him getting praise in 2023 and him getting criticism in 2025? Like, isn't that kind of the foundation of credibility? Like, I get the gang mentality where if he's your player, then you're going to ride and die with him. But there is kind of a little bit of fascination. If you notice how sometimes it's like, this guy is awesome, he's great, he's the best thing ever. And then as soon as he leaves, it's like, well, he sucks, he was never good, blah, blah, blah. Like in this line of work especially, you have to be objective to maintain credibility. I don't really see anything wrong with it from a fan perspective. I'm not saying that you got a fan, but why would you have the exact same energy right now about CJ Stroud with all the questions about the makeup, the mentality, coming back from the concussion, and what you saw the last two games? Why would you feel the same about him in 2023 that you do in 2025? Like, there should at least be a little bit of anxiousness. So when I hear like, keep that same energy and all that, I just don't quite understand it. It confuses me, and I just don't think that's a healthy mindset to have. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling a little bit hesitant about paying CJ Stroud like a franchise quarterback at this point. I think that should be, I think that should be where you feel about CJ Stroud right now. Like, if you're not a little bit concerned about CJ Stroud, I don't know. Like, are you married to him? Like, is he related to you? I don't understand. As long as you keep it fair, you keep it objective, I think it's good. But you keep hearing this, like, keep the same energy and all that type of stuff. I think it's a weird mindset to have with the gang mentality. Now, the internet was nuts today. And I'm going to bring up an example, and I'm going to bring this, just what the people around the nation are saying when it comes to the Texans moving and what it goes back to. I think you all can guess. But I saw today, I think Chris Sims is talking about Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Like, which one would he rather have? Like, that conversation is emerging on a national stage right now, which I think is interesting. I did an exercise for next Thursday. I'm going to be in Vegas, but I'm going to drop it at 10:30. How many quarterbacks would you rather have than CJ Stroud? I divided it into 4 categories, and in a week from today at this time, I'll be breaking it down. I'll premiere it because I'm going to be in Vegas actually, I'm going to be driving back home after landing in Vegas to be at Spanky's on the 20th, which we want to see you at for the SNL Combine send-off. But I just don't get how you could feel really confident about CJ Stroud right now. And sometimes it's kind of like is a split a good thing? Like, is a split a good thing? Is that something that maybe would be a good thing for both parties? I don't know. But I know there's kind of a balance. Like someone sent me a video of me with, I think it was Travis Johnson and Wade Smith and Randy McIlvoy on KPRC. And I said, this was after the Bears game, I think in 2024. I said, yeah, I think that CJ, the most elite thing the Texans have is Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, and I think maybe CJ Stroud can become elite. And you would have thought that I said the stupidest thing in the world. I like both the guys, two athletes, but that was what that was just kind of the notion. It was like, how can you say he's not elite? He wasn't elite. So that's where it was with them. But yeah, I saw Chris Sims and Florio were breaking down the Bryce Young conversation. I thought it was interesting. But I if you have the same energy about CJ and CJ now compared to then, I think that's a little bit bizarre, to say the least. I'll let you wait till a week to see if I put Bryce Young on my would rather have list. There, surroundings aren't great. Mentality seems to be there. I think the difference between the two, though, I didn't mean for this to be the conversation, is I think we kind of know what Bryce Young's price point is going to be. I think the price point is going to be the Darnold Mayfield price point, which I think is a perfect price point for a quarterback. Some might say it's too much. If you take the first 2 years of Bryce Young, I would agree. This is the first time that they're able to put weapons around him. The one time that he had someone to throw to, the guy was offensive rookie of the year. So there's that. But I think the price point, we don't know what CJ Stroud's price point is going to be. So yeah, that's kind of where that is. And the development, I do agree with Patty. I'm expecting some real effort being made to develop our franchise quarterback. Yeah, they got to figure something out. So Adam Schefter brought up the news, and I just like looking at the comments because this is more the national POV when it comes to the Texans. And I just think these comments, especially on a slow news day, are always kind of funny. So Schefter mentioned the facility, blah, blah, blah. And let's just look through the comments. I'm looking at these for the first time with you. So it says, going to build it 1 hour away from their stadium. Yeah, no, I'm not. It doesn't really matter. It's the same as a lot of people. Houston building in Cyprus, going to get the interloop folks real mad. It's the practice facility at this point. Someone says, dumb. There we go. Harry Poppins says they should focus on finding a QB. Someone acting like you can build an NRG, which I think is a little bit crazy. Here's the NRG revamp picks that you see, the AI. Talking about Northwest Houston, that's basically a thing. Can they build their offensive line for CJ Stroud first? So you have that. They've done nothing about traffic, I would agree. Again, this is practice, though. That's what we're talking about. Again, we got to emphasize.
We in here talking about practice.
That's what it is. But you can still see there's a lot of CJ Stroud jokes, but I think it's kind of died down. Not the craziest thing. So there we go. That's just kind of where it is. You see the CJ stuff, the offensive line, pros, cons. There you go. Look at this. Come on. What are we doing here? What did this guy earn? You got to put CJ Stroud in a JJ McCarthy. Like, come on. Like you can't even talk about stadium news without this. We serious? JJ McCarthy? That's how bad it is right now. Spoiler alert, JJ McCarthy is not a quarterback that I would rather have than CJ Stroud. Talking about the McNairs a little bit. People talking about the Woodlands. Someone says, bring back the Oilers. Someone says it would have been a lot cooler if it was in Houston. No, it would not. It would not. Like, have you seen the stuff that's been built there? Have you driven to games? Have you seen what they've done around their stadiums? Like, no, it would not. Like, we got to accept Houston's great. We love Houston. Downtown Houston's awful. NRG area is terrible. There's good events. It's not good. But CJ Stroud still getting some smoke. I find that interesting. CJ Stroud still getting some smoke. A little bit crazy. What are they going to do in the draft? Don't know. Just brought up that DeMeco not going to be there. Keep that same energy, CJ guy. Ready for that. It would be nice to get a nice little home field advantage. I actually do feel bad for the players on that. The late entrance and all that. That sucks. That sucks. Gotta do better. But I think that a commute is a commute, especially on like a Sunday, especially when you're going to 290 and all that. We got the combine coming up, and the tight end position has been something that I've really emphasized. The running back position has been something that I've really emphasized. I want to see if Nick Caley's going to be there. Like I want to see. I don't know. Like, do you trust Nick Caley? Like that's kind of it's almost like last year when we were talking about CJ Stroud and more control at the line of scrimmage. And my question was, is that a good thing? I don't know. I still don't know if that's a good thing or not. I have no idea. They're not. I mean, they said that he was running just as well post concussion, and they said that he didn't play that bad against Pittsburgh. So I mean, what they say really doesn't hold a lot of weight when it comes to CJ Stroud. For whatever reason, they just can't they can't even state the obvious unless the season ends because of it. But they can't really even state the obvious when it comes to CJ. But like, it's kind of something that I'm battling. Because if DeMeco's not going to be at the combine, okay, cool. I don't think he has to be. I think a lot of people could probably run a draft based on all the information that's out there. I think DeMeco and Caserio do a good job of it. And it's not like nobody's going. So on one hand, okay. I do think that the Cole Popovich pitch that we've heard a little bit where Cole Popovich he was here. He was the O-line coach. And the one time that they actually got an offensive line draft pick right with DeMeco and Caserio was when Cole Popovich was the O-line coach. So part of me wonders, okay, if you want to elevate your confidence in this process, does that mean that, assuming that Cole Popovich had a little bit of a say, and I'm damn sure he watched tape and had opinions on guys and talked to guys and all that type of stuff. Like, does the fact that the one time that Cole Popovich was offensive line coach and they drafted an offensive lineman and they're letting Cole Popovich, it feels like do a lot of things, or at least there's just a lot of really strong damn coincidences, excuse me. Not consequences, coincidences.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
Like, is there a possibility that maybe Cole Popovich being here, should give you a little bit more confidence in the ability to draft offensive linemen? He's 1 for 1. Now, maybe he had nothing to do with it. Like, maybe they didn't even ask him, and he wasn't even in the room, and maybe there's that. So it's an interesting thing to think about when it comes to the dynamic of Cole Popovich. I think Cole Popovich, even though the offensive line wasn't great last year, there was improvement. And it wasn't as bad as the previous year. Low bar. You should probably raise the bar a little bit, but I guess you got to crawl before you walk. And I guess at the very least, the offensive line crawled at times last year. Not all the time, but they crawled a little bit. They crawled a bit. Not quite walking, but they crawled. So from an offensive line standpoint, maybe that's like the glass half full perspective when it comes to Cole Popovich. But then I think about like the offense, and they clearly need offense. They clearly need running backs. They clearly need tight ends. And on one hand, you say, okay, Nick Caley, if DeMeco's not going to be there, maybe Nick Caley should be, have a hand and have a say in who's drafted and what goes on offense. But then I asked myself, much like I asked about CJ Stroud getting more control last year, is that a good thing? Like, does Nick Caley really know what he's doing? Now, I don't know. I don't know if he's making all of the offensive personnel decisions. I know for a fact, and this is why I kind of took my foot off the gas. Like when I was hammering Frank Ross for that idiotic I didn't go with, it really wasn't his choice who returned kicks with Berrios and Knoll, which is sad. I don't know whose it was. It wasn't Frank Ross. So maybe it's Caserio. Maybe it's DeMeco. I don't know. But when you look at some of the stuff that they did on offense this year, the Jawar Jordan example that we've beat to death comes up. The running back usage as a whole, I thought sucked until they were forced to change that. Like, do I trust Nick Caley to make a draft pick on offense? I don't know. Like, how much feedback do I want? I don't think he's like gonna. Regardless, it's going to go through Caserio and it's going to go through DeMeco. And I don't even know who has the bigger say there when it comes to those two. I think DeMeco's shelf life is longer. I think DeMeco is football king here. But do I want Nick Caley to have a say? I don't really think so. I don't really think so. I mean, hopefully he's at least saying, yeah, we need a new tight end. We need a new running back. He's leaving like the offensive line stuff to Popovich. But I don't really understand that. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. It doesn't excite me, to say the very least. At all. Shouldn't at all. Christopher Carlson on the chat.
Swarm.
I never know what this means. He says, I've seen a lot of people talking about the possibility of trading Mills. Who's talking about the possibility of trading Mills? I haven't seen any of this. Do you think this is realistic? How much value could they really get out of him compared to losing a proven backup? I think it would be dumb as fuck. Like, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I think it would be dumb as fuck. When you have a quarterback that's on a rookie contract, you have a backup who won you 3 games, 3.5, if we want to count the Indy game, because they basically threw in the towel and he led the drive on the back end with backups. So I won you 3.5 games last year, and you have all these questions about your quarterback. I think riding dirty without an insurance policy like that, I think it would be dumb as fuck. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It would be dumb as fuck. So I don't know who's talking about it or whatever. I have no idea. But, yeah, I think that would be idiotic. Do I think it's realistic? I would be shocked if they did that. That would be really stupid. Really stupid. And I think Davis Mills is actually a pretty good resource for CJ at this point. I think he's kind of played his way up when it comes to the veteran role. And I think he's proud. He's fine with the role that he has. There might be a time where maybe you go in a different direction, like if Graham Mertz develops or if they kick the tires on someone else at backup quarterback. But at this point, with how you feel about CJ Stroud, with how Davis Mills played last year, with how important having a good backup quarterback is, I think it'd be one of the dumbest things. It would make me lose a lot of faith in this organization if they did something that stupid. Honestly, they don't make the playoffs last year without Davis Mills. And I think he completely changed the vibe and gave CJ Stroud a better football team than what CJ Stroud gave him. The Texans were kind of they were kind of against the ropes a little bit. I know that they'd won the San Francisco game and stuff, but they were kind of against the ropes a little bit before Davis Mills took over. And basically, CJ Stroud handed him the keys to the car, and Davis Mills not only didn't get in a wreck, he went and got the car inspected. He got the alignment changed. He got it detailed, and he went to the gas station and put a full tank of premium gas in it before he gave CJ Stroud the keys back to the car. And we're suggesting that you trade that while CJ Stroud is still on his rookie deal? That's crazy. That's insane. I mean, ask the Cincinnati Bengals if they would have liked to have Davis Mills last year. Ask the Baltimore Ravens if they would have liked to had Davis Mills last year. Ask the Indianapolis Colts if they would have liked to have had Davis Mills last year. They had to call Fat Phillip Rivers from a high school. Like, there's a lot of teams that had they had Davis Mills, like, things probably would have changed a little bit. So no, I think it's idiotic. I don't know who's talking about it, but I think it's a dumb idea. I think it's actually one of the worst ideas. And this is the season of bad ideas, but I think it's probably one of the worst ideas. I don't know what you're getting from Mills either. What are you getting, like a third or fourth? Like, nah, he's too valuable here at this point. So no, I think that would be absolutely crazy. For sure. KK Games 1407 says, do you think we should give Fisher another chance? He has the physical traits to be a good starter, and we have to stop wasting these picks we use on linemen. I mean, I wouldn't consider Ariante Ursery a wasted pick. I don't think they've wasted picks on offensive linemen. I think they've just done a bad job of drafting the guys. Like, if they would have taken Tyler Linderbaum instead of Kenyon Green, I think you would have been fine. There's a number of guys, if they would have used the pick on instead of Blake Fisher, I think they would have been fine. Same thing with Juice Scruggs. So I don't know, like, what physical traits are you talking about? Just the size, or like, what do you? I don't know about, like, that Blake Fisher just has elite physical traits. Will he get another chance? He'll be in camp. He'll probably have some competition, and maybe he can play his way into being an okay swing tackle. But yeah, I would be, I think it would be pretty funny if after a season of Blake Fisher having one of the worst training camps that I've ever witnessed, every action that they showed being basically an effort to avoid playing Blake Fisher, I think it would be kind of weird if they, like, came into mini camp, OTAs, all that training camp with Blake Fisher as the starting right tackle. So he'll get a chance. Like, he'll get a chance to go out there and compete and see what happens. And hopefully he looks better than he did last camp. It's kind of hard to look worse. But yeah, I don't know that they're, like, as far as another chance, if you're saying that they're going to be in the same situation where they give him an opportunity to be the starter right off the top, I would say that would probably not happen. Shout out to the St. Louis Rebel. Always a beast. Shout out to you, my friend.
Swarm.
St. Louis Rebel says, my biggest fear is we keep ending up in wild card games and eventually lose one. Very possible. Although DeMeco does own that wild card round. My God, he does. The Texans have to find a way to secure the number 1 seed, get that first round bye, and go straight into the divisional round with a home game. So my thing with this is always interesting because the wording to me is always kind of fascinating because, yeah, you could look at, like, New England and say the only reason they were the seed that they were is because of the division they were in and they had a favorable schedule. So I would agree with that. But I would also say that most of the time, like the way that it's presented, and Will Anderson did the same thing. So I'm not picking on you, Reb. You know, I got love for you. Like the wording is always like, you buy a scratch off lottery ticket, you scratch it, and it's like, oh, we get the 1 seed. Or it's all bad luck and you don't get the one, you're not the 1 seed. You know, like it's always appeared as if, man, they got to find a way to get that. Like they're on like some scavenger hunt for the 1 seed. The reality of it is that usually when you're the 1 seed, it means you're the best team in the league or you're the best team in your conference. So yeah, there are elements, there are examples, there are one-offs, but for the most part, like when you look at the team that's the 1 seed, they're the best team in the league. Or when you look at the team that's the 2 seed that has home field advantage for a large chunk, they're one of the top 2 teams in the league. So yeah, they got to find a way. But for me, the way to do that is create the best team possible and perhaps perform like the best team in the league. Like Seattle was the best team in the league for a large chunk of the season. They were the 1 seed. They earned it. They earned it. They beat the Rams in that crazy-ass game. They earned it. So, yeah, I agree with you. But I think a lot of times when it's presented, and Will Anderson did it too, I think a lot of times it's just always like, it's just always kind of a luck thing. On the chat, appreciate you, Reb. Team player says he thinks that Mills is hunting for a starting spot. I don't know. And he's not going to do that with CJ Stroud. Don't really think that. James, you're such a whiny ass sometimes. You're not going to, like, I'm not trading Davis Mills for a 3rd or a 4th. I'm probably not even trading him for a 2nd at this point. Like, obviously, like there's a price for everything, but this Madden like 2nd round pick, I'm not doing it. But you're also like all over the place. Like James is the example of the opposite of gang. I'm just going to expose James. James, you're spamming the chat today, so I'm just going to say this. He's my boy. I'll see him at Spanky's probably in the 20th. If I want to go cuss out James, go ahead and do that. He'll be there unless he actually loses a bet. But this is a guy who literally 15 days before CJ Stroud had a bad game, he wanted to pay him elite money. 55, 60 million. Anyone who doesn't want to do that's an idiot, was what he was saying. And then he thinks he's the worst thing ever. He sucks. He's terrible. You got to get rid of him. But he wants to trade his backup. And it's idiotic to not want to trade his backup. James, you're all over the place, man. James is all over the place. All over the place. James G says, don't loop me in with that MF. Different James. Talking about James Duck. The Duck. James is all over the place, man. Everything's like the most idiotic thing in the world. Oh, idiotic. There's no like clear line of thinking. It's one, which is great. It's funny, but it's just weird to say that I want to keep the insurance policy, and that's like the dumbest thing ever. Always got to be so dramatic, James. KK Games back on it says, I'm just saying if Miko wants to run this run first scheme, we need size on the line, not these 6'2", 6'3" linemen. Has he said he wants to do run first? Like they always say that they want to run the ball. I don't know what he wants to do. I don't like, you tell me what they want to do on offense. I think they'd like to run the ball, but I don't really know what their weekly goal is when it comes to the offense or anything like that. I don't know if DeMeco wants to run first or whatever. I have no idea. On the chat, I knew this was going to come up.
Swarm.
Jake Ramirez. And it's the calm before the storm when it comes to the ultimate Texans time when it comes to the combine. Be broadcasting there sooner rather than later. Can't wait. 10 days. Jake says, how realistic is Kenneth Walker becoming a Texan? How expensive would it be? Could it change the offense? Would he even want to come here? All right. Appreciate you, Jake. So there's a few things there. How realistic is Kenneth Walker becoming a Texan? See, with Seattle, they're paying their quarterback $33 million or whatever Darnold makes. So I would think that you wouldn't want to let Kenneth Walker go. Running back is still kind of an area where you can have a lot of stability if you are a squad. I don't even know if they let him get on the market. Like, I think it'll be interesting to see if he potentially gets franchise tagged. Now, maybe Seattle has other guys that they could franchise tag, which means he would be kind of on the market. But it's just hard for me to imagine Seattle with what they just had happen. And the fact that, like, do we think Darnold's going to be, like, is there like some long window? You have him under contract for 2 more years. The reality, I don't know. I do know that DeMeco likes him. DeMeco speaks very highly of him. And they're definitely going to get rid of Mixon, which will save about $8 million. And they're also going to make some tweaks and restructure some contracts that'll open up cap space. So if he's on the market, who knows? How expensive would it be? I think you're looking at one of the highest paid backs in the league, given what he did. Now, he doesn't necessarily catch the ball, but he doesn't need to because he could be complimented by Woody Marks. But I think you're looking at, what are we, like 13 to 16, something like that? Kind of a lot. Could it change the offense? Yeah, I think having Kenneth Walker instead of Nick Chubb would change the offense. It would also, perhaps, assuming that Nick Caley has any competence, would open up the opportunity for Woody Marks to catch the ball. So, yes, it would change the offense. I don't know how much you're asking about it. Would he even want to come here? I don't see why not. Isn't he from, like, Tennessee? His dad actually attended his first game at the Super Bowl. So I would say he probably wouldn't be opposed to it. But yeah, I would say that's probably a chance. Yeah, I did see the drunk GM talking about negotiation or whatever. But they're going to have to fix a lot of things on offense. But I do think they need to definitely address the running back. I think I'll know where I fall on that. The running back thing is wild though. That's going to be a fun position to look at the combine. The tight ends and the running backs is going to be crazy in the O-line. Between all that, we got you covered. And then all the possibilities on defense. Caserio is going to speak on Tuesday. They're actually going to have I don't know what you call it. I guess there's like a press conference about this move. They need another press conference. I don't know. Cal, Hannah, all them, they're going to be there on a Wednesday. We'll be at the combine. So we'll probably eavesdrop and see what's going on. I think Alpha is going to be at the combine too, so he won't even be there. Who knows? But they definitely need to do something at that. So to reset, I think it's a good move to move the practice facility. What does it mean for the stadium? Who knows? The CJ Stroud thing is interesting. It's not going away. It's kind of died down a little bit, but it's valid. And I don't know what I want Nick Caley's role to be in this offseason. He has not earned my trust when it comes to that. The DeMeco thing is interesting because it's new, but is more with Nick Caley. It's the same feeling that I had last year when we were talking about CJ Stroud having more control at the line of scrimmage. So it's kind of a little bit of an eye roll for me. Shout out to Sleeper once again for sponsoring the video. Be sure to download the app. Be sure to join us at Spanky's on the 20th. James will be there. Y'all can tell him he's an idiot. Everyone's an idiot to James, even though it's just so high-low. He's He's the opposite. Like when I actually feel for keep the same energy guy when we're talking about James. You go from wanting to give a record-setting contract to getting rid of a guy. It's a lot. It's a lot. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. The slow news days are about to be done. We'll be at the combine before we know it. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we top 2 and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.